Oh, here's your backstage pass.
Right, quiet on the set.
Action!
Welcome to Sedona's Backstage Pass with Chandra, presented by Chef Lisa Dahl. This is your inside look into culture, curators, and creative artists. And now, your host, Chandra.
Welcome, my VIPs. You've got your Backstage Pass, and you are in. Now, I know I say that every week, but it's true. You know, this is the place where you hear the behind-the-scenes stories that you would never hear anywhere else about some amazing individuals in Sedona, right here on Sedona's Backstage Pass. And before we get into my interviews, I want to tell you about a few things. First of all, I want to mention the Sedona International Film Festival. Now, this is the coolest thing ever. It feels like you're watching a movie in your own backyard. The Sedona International Film Festival has their Movies on the Move series happening. And this isn't just watching a film. Nope. This is about the community coming together and gathering underneath the stars for a fantastic cinematic experience. That's right. It's different than a theater. You're outside. So I got to tell you, there's an amazing lineup of films scheduled, and there is nothing like the energy of a local Sedona audience enjoying a great story on the big screen, outdoors, underneath the stars. It's wonderful. If you want to know about all of the films that are coming up, visit SedonaFilmFestival.com. You'll see the whole schedule right there, the full listings. Grab your tickets. It's all about the great films. It's fun, and even more importantly, wonderful memories. So remember, Sedona International Film Festival's movies, on the move. Then I want to mention Verve Events Intense. Now, if you are planning a milestone birthday, an anniversary party, a corporate gathering, or perhaps that dream wedding that you've always been imagining, the secret, may I say, to a stress-free, beautiful event with all the details taken care of is when you call Verve Events Intense. They're the pros. Let them take care of it. They will transform any space that you have coming up that you've rented or that you're planning to have your special event at. They will transform that space into something truly special. From gorgeous tenting solutions that handle the weather when we do have weather, because I wish we did have some weather right now, to all of the details that make your planning process feel effortless. So that way you can enjoy your own party, right? So when you have your next event, be sure that you call Verve Events and Tents. They bring the style, the structure, and the service to make your vision come to life. And finally, listen, I got to tell you about Sedona.biz. We all know that living in Sedona means being a part of a vibrant, ever-changing community. But how do you keep up with all of it, right? How do you know what's going on right here? And for those of you who don't live here, there are things to find out about Sedona on Sedona.biz. It is your absolute go-to resource online. So think of it as your digital pulse for the city. Whether you're searching for the latest community updates, looking for that next great event, or you just want to settle in with some genuinely interesting articles that capture the local spirit, Sedona.biz is that place to go to see all of that. Read all of it. And I find myself checking at it constantly to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And if you want to stay informed, connected, and truly in the know about our beautiful place here of Sedona, bookmark Sedona.biz, because it's the essential guide to living, working, and thriving in Sedona. It's July 4th, and I cannot think of someone better to have on the show today than the person that's sitting next to me right now, who I absolutely adore, Luke Sefton of Sefton Engineering. Thank you so much for being here, Luke.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being a sponsor. It's always wonderful to have you once a month. And the reason I mentioned this in the introduction is because I know you served. Mm-hmm. And I want everybody who's listening to understand what I just learned, which was you were in the National Guard, right?
Yes.
But when you were in Desert Storm, you were serving in the Army. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so the National Guard has branches of the Army. How does that work?
Well, this all kind of ties back into the 4th of July.
Aha, yes. That's why I'm thinking it's perfect for you to be on the show today.
Very much so. But, I was raised like everybody else, loved America, did all the 4th of July things. And I didn't really understand what the sacrifice was until I joined the military.
Boom.
And especially the National Guard, because the National Guard goes back to the founding of our country. And what was there was that, if anybody knows, is that the states all wanted to come to the United States, but they didn't want to give up their own military or sovereignty. So the deal was that you can keep the Minuteman, and each state can still have their own military, but in reality, they're part of either the National Guard or the National Guard. National Guard has Army and Air Force, so those soldiers actually have a chain of command through the Army too, and same thing with the Air Force. Same thing with the reserves, but the reserves are a little bit more tied in with some active duty units.
So the reserves, is that the National Guard? Is that
no?
That's something different.
It's almost like it, but it's you're federalized. You're more. You could be in a lot different areas, and there's a lot of reservists here that go to California.
Okay, so now this is very interesting to me. You mentioned Minutemen. What is that? What is a Minuteman?
Well, so what would happen was back in colonial days when they needed, military and stuff like that, they would call out, and all the farmers would come with their guns and pitchforks and stuff, and that's where they started calling them the Minuteman.
Right, because it's last second.
Last second,
Got
and
it.
that's why one of the amendments is so adamant about everybody being able the right to keep and bear arms, because at the time the British was wanted to take that away, because it was what helped founded our country, is that everybody had guns and they were all being able to come together very quickly. So
right, if they needed to. Yeah.
So you had the Virginia Minutemen and the New York Minutemen, all those different units, and then when they created the United States, they said all the states can have their own militia. When I was in the National Guard, Janet Napolitano, President Clinton canceled one of the units, had one of the units said, no, you're no longer there in the state of Arizona, and Janet Napolitano, Governor Napolitano, wrote to the president, said, hey, I'm their commander-in-chief. You don't switch them out without telling me first.
I see.
And that's where the state was pushing its sovereignty. But
interesting stuff, yeah. So you know a lot about this. Are you a history buff?
Well, no. Being in the National Guard, you learn a lot of that.
Okay.
I was also an instructor at the Arizona Military Academy down in Phoenix, so I had to teach history a little bit. I had to teach leadership.
Right.
But yeah, it came about because of, so that's why the National Guard always, there's 285 years old, because they were here long before our 250th anniversary.
Wowie.
So,
I love this. This is perfect to have you on for today.
And what the other thing the Guard can do is, because it's technically under the control of the governor, it can help with riots.
The National Guard.
National Guard.
Yes.
Because there's a rule that the U.S. Or the military cannot have arms on American soil, basically.
Oh.
Because, and that's why the National Guard can, because they work for the state. The state's its own militia.
I see.
So, but that comes about was because if you see these other countries, like what's happening in Iran, it's a lot of time the military that has all the power because they have all the guns and everything else. And so here we kind of said, well, we don't want that ever to have happen, where we get somebody that can now, our military person could take over the running of the government.
Right.
So there's a strong division there.
Did you ever have to use a gun?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did
it?
A
few times.
Okay, so is it weird coming back? Like, I know it has to be very odd for somebody on the front lines.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been in that mode. They're using the guns. They're doing what they got to do. Not pretty. Obviously, nobody wants to kill anyone, but that's what,
That's
could
what it
happen.
does.
Right. So the question of the day is when they come home and when you came home, is there a bit of an adjustment to
yeah.
you just can't pull out a gun and go, here we go. This is what's happening. Right?
Yeah.
It's a little of an adjustment, is it not?
It's a huge adjustment for the soldiers.
Do the soldiers get any kind of therapy for
They
anything?
do. The military's doing a great job now with all of that. Really, I get on everything I get from the VA. They have a 1-800 number for the crisis.
Right, but
helpline.
But does it come with when you're coming home
Yes.
and you're done?
Yes.
Actually, the deal is you also get therapy sessions.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask for it. Is what I'm asking.
Well, I'll put it this way: when a unit comes back,
Yes.
they and their family go through. We used to, I don't know if it's still called, but the Yellow Ribbon Program.
Okay.
And so they have all the different agencies or departments or clinics set up, and they bring the soldier through with the family. They have activities for the kids, and they go through the process of reintegrating them. Counseling at that point, they'll get counseling, both the soldier and the spouse.
So
and the
that's a
children.
given.
Yeah,
That's not something that you have to ask for.
No, they do that, and they make sure that all the. And it's a little overwhelming because all you want to do is go home. You don't want to sit in a
yes.
bunch of classes.
No.
After you've been gone for a year, but yeah, so those opportunities are always there. One guy said we throw a lot of lifeguard or life rings or floats out into the ocean, and they're all around. Sometimes they just can't see them, but there's a lot of help out there.
So, but again, is it mandatory?
It's mandatory when you come back.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
I had no idea. If you're not in the world, of it,
and
you
I
don't really
participated
know.
in those as not only
Really?
coming back, but also being on the other side, helping soldiers transition back.
Yeah, is that tough?
No, they're happy to be here. We're happy to be helping in the families and everything else. You don't get too much. From where I was on the employer support side, saying, here's what you need to do with your employer. If your employer has issues, we'll help you with that. That's where I was at. I was on the counseling side.
Okay, so I have to ask you, was this something that you grew up wanting to do? Like, do you have a history of people who served in your family?
Yeah. No, a long history. But my grandfather served in World War I and II, and he was headed off to Korea when my grandmother said enough. And
wow.
he actually lost a lung in World War I.
Holy smokes.
Due to a mustard gas attack.
Oh, my God.
My uncle was a second lieutenant in the Airborne Rangers, the 101st, that got dropped into Normandy on D-Day.
Oh,
And
my
so-
goodness.
And then my dad...
Did he survive that?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Smokes,
No,
I should
no,
say.
he was
I
like...
wanted to say something else. I
Yeah,
almost said that.
no, he was like
wow.
certain... The Germans had flooded all the fields, so he had... the light goes off and you tell all your guys to jump. And he sat there and, the plane was getting hit with rounds and stuff. And so he said, oh, no, they don't shoot you on the way down. Because they're going to shoot us. And so anyways, he got all his guys to jump, and then he looked out the window or out the door, and all he could see was water. And he goes, I just told him to jump into the English Channel.
So they did. Now,
No, they didn't.
They did
actually,
not.
the Germans had flooded the fields.
Yes.
And so they were actually where they were supposed to be, but there wasn't supposed to be water there.
So what did they do?
Oh, well, he jumped. He goes, I
he
can
did.
do it or get court-martialed.
Okay, so he's like,
I got to join my guys or get court-martialed.
yeah, so they all jumped.
They all jumped.
And they're in the water.
And they're in the water. It's
Yeah,
just
but-
a muddy field.
It wasn't it. That was very frightening.
Oh,
that whole
absolutely.
thing. They were blowing up people in the water.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is scary.
Yeah.
So did he lose a lot of guys?
I don't know. He lost a couple.
Oh,
but
it's so
I don't-
hard.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
got to be. That's kind of sort of what they call the guilt survival thing. Like you survive and someone does not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And in this case, that day, that had to be really horrific. Horrific.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. as we've
That's
seen.
a burden you carry silently.
Yeah, that's right. It's interesting, isn't it? We've seen people who are decorated officers. For instance, Al, not Al Camelo, but I'm trying to remember his last name. He spoke at Memorial Day.
Okay.
You were there, weren't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
make
you
that.
weren't there.
No.
It was incredible. And very quiet about things.
Mm-hmm.
The way he talked about it was somehow that I had not heard before. And many people reflected that to me as well. He talked about the fact that he had served in Vietnam, and 50 years later, here he is. And knowing all of his life that he went through in those 50 years, his comment was, those people that didn't make it missed out on all of those 50 years that they could have had. But the way that he phrased it was absolutely stunning. And it just was a different way of looking at it, so to speak, you know? And there were several of us that were we were all blown away that day by he was the keynote speaker,
Yeah.
and it was incredible.
Yeah. No, I was over in Prescott for a fundraiser or something, and the keynote speaker was a guy that came over, remember the boat? They had the boat people
Yes.
when they were having all the refugees coming
Yes. Yes.
over. And he goes, and he was one of those kids that came over as a young kid
Oh, yes.
and stuff. And he goes, if you don't think what you did over there matters, it mattered to me.
Oh, see, it's incredible when you hear that from someone who survived that, who came over. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So for that one person, it mattered.
that's right.
And it made a huge difference to his life. We didn't need to, we're always working on dropping the death rate or injury rate.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the classes I taught was, how we got better and better at taking care of our soldiers, because quite frankly, the military that's our biggest investment, and we want to make sure it's taken care of.
And it should be that
And
way.
it should be.
My gosh, it's like people are putting their lives on the line. I mean, and many don't make it, and it's their
Yeah.
families, and it's a huge loss. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
So we've made a lot of strides, and it's just from what it was to, from you look at the Civil War to now, it's tremendously dropped. You could have some serious, they know it before you probably even know it most of the time that you're injured.
oh yeah, that's crazy, huh?
And they can get you to Germany and to a major trauma center very quickly versus
Right.
what we used to have to do is sit there in a tent and try to do this stuff.
So now educate me here. You first came in as a medic,
I was a medic.
and this is rough stuff. You're seeing a lot of stuff.
Well, I was only a medic for 3 years, and I was
3 years,
yeah,
though.
in the National Guard. So mostly I did clinics. So I would go and do hearing and eye tests and blood tests and
Okay.
all kinds of. I would go do clinics for soldiers that were whatever.
They weren't hurt.
They weren't hurt.
Yeah.
They weren't hurt. I mean, we always trained for that, but mostly it was clinical.
So you never had to do that.
I never had to do that, no. But what's interesting about that is, I've always wanted, it's kind of always sat there in the back of my mind about joining the military. I kind of really thought, I hadn't really formed it, but I was pretty much going to go in the military.
Okay.
Well, the family doctor, who was the one that delivered me, saw me all the way through grade school and high school and all the physicals and everything, was a major in the National Guard as a doctor. And he had a unit, and so I joined his unit as a private, a PFC.
Okay.
And so I was there, and then after that, I decided to go to Officer Candidate School, OCS, and I'm going through all that, and then you have to go through a very strict physical, because now before you get commissioned, they want to make sure you're in top performance and everything else.
Right.
And so, and you're there in the OCS. It's like basic training, but they're always yelling at you and dropping you, and you have to make sure you do all the movements right and stuff like that. And when you go in to see the doctor, you have to go in to see your doctor and present yourself and salute, and then get ready for the physical, and you have to do all this to the numbers. And so I go in, and there's my family doctor.
Oh my gosh.
and he was conducting the medics or the whatever the medical clinic that day. And so I sit there and I'm like reporting, and he goes, "Luke, you want a Coke?" I go, "No, sir, I'm just fine. I'm going to take him." And he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting ready for the physical." And he goes, "Luke, I know your records. I'll get you a Coke. You sit down there. I'll fill out your medical records."
Wow. So that helped.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So, but it was kind of like that synergy, I guess.
Yes, that
where,
was
where it all comes together.
Yeah, it was meant to be, right?
Yeah.
Because he was there.
Yeah.
How cool is that? So, wow. So you're a medic, 3 years in the National Guard.
Yep.
And right now, if there was a call for National Guard, would you be part of that?
No.
Okay, so it's not like when you get out, you're also possibly being
There's
called.
times that you can be in what they call the inactive reserve.
Okay.
Right. IRR. That's where you still, like, whenever you sign up as a soldier, especially enlisted, it's an 8-year commitment.
Okay.
You do 4 years, and then the 4 years would be in IRR. Or sometimes they'll say, okay, do 2 years and 2 years or 6 years in the IRR.
And the IR again
inactive
is
reserve.
inactive reserves, right?
And so the only problem with that sometimes, like with Desert Storm, was that they called up the inactive reserve almost immediately and brought soldiers back in Desert Storm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that how you got there?
No. I was part of an Arizona unit that went.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. In National Guard.
In the National
Well, once
Guard.
you were there, it was Army or
Yeah,
Air Force.
you're just regular Army.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. So I'm getting an education. I hope all of you are enjoying this as well, because it is interesting how things work in the military. Right now, for those of you who are listening, you would already know that Sedona is having a fire around it called the Pocket Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And there are fire guys from all over from the region. And I understand from last night's meeting. Were you there at
No.
the high school? Yeah. So our dear friend Al Camello was there, and he was saying this is like a military thing.
Oh, yeah.
It is a whole setup.
Yep.
There's something like 100 or 200 administrative individuals that are part of this. And the food and all of that, every guy's got to have 6,000 calories.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yep.
And so they don't want restaurants to help it. They're not looking for that. They got to feed 1,000 people.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I've done that.
You've done this.
Oh, yeah. That's
It done what? Like,
yeah. Well, I was one of the additional duties I had as a young lieutenant was being the mess officer.
oh, okay. Okay. Additional, yeah.
So when I had so I would have to make sure that was a section I had to run.
So if there was a need for something that was happening very big, you were in charge of the food situation? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, monthly meals. I mean, when we went out to the field, we would set up. We would leave Friday night, and I was in the Flagstaff unit. Let's say it's Flagstaff unit. We would go out to Camp Navajo Friday night, and we would have everything set up by probably 10 or 11 at night and be ready to cook breakfast for 300 people the next morning.
Oh my goodness.
And
that's crazy.
So we go out Friday night in just a few hours, put up our tents, put up all our gear, put up our talk, put up our whatever communications area, and get ready for whatever we're doing, and go to bed.
Wow.
And then
what time
up.
were you going to bed? I'm curious. Did you take up
probably,
really early?
Oh, right? Heck, I don't know if I ever got to bed before midnight.
And so you're getting up at what time? 4:30?
Probably 4:35.
Oh, how do you even function?
Not very well.
I mean, really?
Oh, and there was a lot of times I couldn't sleep.
Oh, yes.
We would have to do it during the winter.
Oh,
and it was just bitterly cold.
Oh. What do you, is there, when it's cold like that, do you have any kind of sort of things that help you? I mean, there's heaters or tell me that there's something.
Well, they issue you cold weather equipment. You're extreme, like my sleeping bag had a tag that said extreme cold weather.
Oh.
And my parka was extreme cold weather, and my shoes.
But even still, it wasn't that.
And after years, I'm a little slow. And after years of being out in the field and freezing, I looked at that and I go, oh, it doesn't mean you'll be extremely cold, or it's going to help. It's going to make you extremely cold. I said, it's the wrong label.
Exactly.
I said, we're all sitting there thinking this is supposed to be used for extreme cold weather.
Oh, and it wasn't.
Well, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It just, they weren't very good.
It reads weird. Does it read weird?
Yeah, it just always means that you're going to be extremely cold.
Oh my gosh, this
but
is
now
outrageous.
with Gore-Tex, which came out of Flagstaff, a lot of stuff is covered with Gore-Tex, and it's made a lot more comfortable and breathable. And
Yeah, what is that, the Vortex thing?
Gore-Tex.
Vortex?
Gore-Tex.
Gore-Tex. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what is that?
It's a synthetic material that was invented in Flagstaff, I believe, at Gore-Tex.
Okay.
W.G. Gore. W.G. Gore.
W.G. Gore. Okay, interesting.
And it's just been revolutionary with our clothing and
how to stay warm.
Stay warm. We can have our parkas now, and they can be waterproof. The water will run off of them, but you'll still be able to breathe, and you'll still retain that heat.
Interesting.
So
it's amazing how we've come a long way, that's for sure. I can't believe it. We have run out of time.
Wow.
Can you imagine? It goes by fast.
Yes, it does.
I want to thank you on this July 4th for your service, for all that you've done, and all that you continue to do.
Wow.
And
all those that went before us that made this
Yes.
possible, that made the ultimate sacrifice, or even made, serve their country. That today's the day to recognize them and what we have in this country. And, it's not duplicated around the world.
No, and it is a privilege to be here. It
is.
really is an honor to be born here as well is a humongous privilege. It really is. And regardless of how you feel about how the country is being run at the moment or not, whatever you feel, it's still a privilege to be an American. And 250 years today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the stories behind the scenes, and we get to know you a little bit more every time. I love it.
Okay.
All right. You'll be back next month.
I will be back next month.
And all of you, stay with me. Don't go away. I'll be right back. You can taste it in every bite. For over 30 years, Chef Lisa Dahl has redefined what it means to dine in Sedona, serving soulful and handcrafted cuisine inspired by love, artistry, and community. From the original little kitchen at Dahl and DeLuca to the majestic spirit of Mariposa to the couture flair of Butterfly Burger, every experience is elevated, every ingredient intentional. In every dish, you experience Lisa's lifelong mantra, when you cook, you feed the soul. To learn more about Lisa Dahl and the Dahl restaurants, please visit cheflisadahl.com.
When your project demands precision, experience, and trust, turn to Sefton Engineering Consultants. From expert civil engineers to construction management, we deliver real-world solutions that stand the test of time. With over 30 years in the business, Luke Sefton's team is committed to getting your project done right, on time, and on budget. Sefton Engineering Consultants. Reliable, experienced, personal. Learn more at seftonengineeringconsultants.com.
Here's more of Backstage Pass with Chandra, brought to you by Chef Lisa Dahl.
My next guest is somebody that I work with once a month. I have the pleasure of working with her. She works hard. She works over there at the Sedona Chamber of Commerce. She is the events and program manager, and I'm so happy to have you with us. Thank you so much, Kara Barnes, for being here.
Of course. Happy to be here, Chandra.
You took your day, like at least an hour to be here, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me.
So you're welcome. How is it going on over there? What's going on right now?
Oh,
Lots, right?
It's always busy. We have a lot going on. Currently, we're in a little bit of a political season here in Sedona. And I have the opportunity as the events and programs manager to help facilitate opportunities for the citizens to become more informed and provide these environments for factual, reliable resources, not necessarily promoting a certain stance, but just giving an opportunity, because I think it's really important for people to make informed, educated decisions. And in our day and age of media and how people consume material, it is sometimes hard to find a reliable resource. And so getting to contribute to that is both personally satisfying and a little bit of some chamber activity, as well as the monthly mixers we get to do. Really, I'm the architect of the spaces that and experiences we create, and they are to do with promoting businesses, promoting spotlights on entrepreneurs, also community engagement. Just this morning, we had our first workshop in our brand camp. We have 10 campers, but different businesses at different stages that are going to be participating in a 4-part workshop working on how to tell your story.
Awesome. I love that. So speaking of stories, let's talk about your story.
All right, sure thing.
You moved here in 2024.
Yes, the very end, December.
Okay, and what brought you here?
Actually, random events, circumstances. I have a 1973 Airstream, a land yacht that I've been renovating as a labor of love for 7 years now, bebopping it around. And I was a wedding coordinator at a venue and working on that Airstream. And after the last wedding of the season, I was told to get out with no notice. And,
Whoa.
Yeah,
and where was this?
Durango, Colorado. I've been in Colorado the last 7 years, bebopping around, being a river guide, ski bum, bartender, artist. And I didn't want to go into another ski town. My Airstream is a construction site, so it's not exactly perfect in every location. So I kind of put feelers out to a lot of my friends if they were open to or knew anyone with land that was open to a bit of a construction project. And I had my office girl from one of my first raft companies. I was 22 when she was 19, the last time we've actually hung out, but we've always kept up phone, text, Instagram, Facebook. She's an artist as well. We've always bought each other's art and have stayed in our lives through all the chapters. She'd been in Arizona in Rimrock, and I sent her a note really asking if she knew of anyone, and she said, "What about me?" And I had no idea where Rimrock was, and I had no idea I was even coming to the Sedona Verde Valley area. I just needed somewhere to go downhill, preferably, and away from the snow.
I love it. So tell us about this construction, this piece that you're putting together. Tell us. It's a passion of yours, apparently.
Yep. So I had built a tiny home bus and a shuttle bus when I moved out to Colorado.
You built it?
Well, yes, I converted it.
Amazing. Yourself?
Yes, that one was purely myself. I'd had a 5-year career in audiovisual for events and meetings in the hotels and conferences and conventions industry in Washington, D.C.
When was that?
2013 through 2018.
Wow.
And
was this did you go to college for this? I mean, did you?
So I actually went to school for broadcast news television. I've worked in radio for 2 years before television. I was a reporter and a newscast director real young in my life. I learned nonlinear editing in large editing bays and cutting a package together for the 5 o'clock news in a van, directing the news. And I did that for a few years, but pretty young I realized that the news was not an industry I wanted to stay in. A lot of people I saw in their later 20s, early 30s were either desensitized or completely burned out, and I didn't like either of those options.
You know, I can totally relate to this. I worked on the James Arthur Ray case here in Camp Verde, right? The big courthouse. And I was running 10 mics in that courtroom for 3 months for headline news. Now, let me just say, The people that were working that seemed extremely desensitized. Because in order to do that job, because you are listening and you're hearing some pretty heavy stuff and you're seeing some stuff. For me, I'm in the back of the courtroom. I'm like setting up the mics in the morning, but you're around it. And as you understand, with the news, it doesn't necessarily lend itself towards positivity. It's a lot of negativity. It's a lot of pressure, too.
If it bleeds, it leads, and definitely the market jumping. And then also, I graduated 2009, right on the heels of 2008. Not an ideal time to enter the workforce.
Yeah.
The media environment has changed significantly in those 20 years, so I think I made a good call.
You made a great call, because I can't even imagine what you would be going through right now. Maybe a nervous breakdown.
I had been
Seriously.
an intern for ESPN my last year in college, and I did a lot of production assistant and stage management. And I worked for a couple news stations. My news station in Maine had a larger viewing in Canada, New Brunswick, than we did in the U.S. But yeah, I decided that wasn't for me. What the full circle of it is that now with social media and the marketing industry complex, I still film and edit and create short packages and write caption, and very much what I studied. Did I ever think this would be the realm I did it in? No, but I've been a social media manager and marketing manager, and there's certainly plenty of marketing within my position at the Sedona Chamber as well. So I definitely don't regret my chosen college degree, and that degree in my video and my production is what got me into the audiovisual industry, and that obviously put me on the staff of really large events, working with all kinds of different scales and different types.
What was the largest event that you've ever produced or co-produced?
Well, it wouldn't just been my production. I worked at the Mandarin Oriental in D.C., and we did some very large ones.
Did you ever do anything for any political figures? I would imagine they were all
definitely.
that.
I have a lot of political and government and diplomatic, and then also just international conventions of really large corporations. I mean, definitely multi-million-dollar events before. And then from the AV side, I'm working with hundreds on their team as well. So
wow.
From the small meeting room packages as well. So like setting
That's
up
great.
a few speakers and a mic isn't a big deal for
Not a biggie.
our mixers.
I love it.
But that's what got me into the event industry. And then the broadcast news certainly has kept me within the video production and editing.
Yeah. Okay. So now I have to ask you, what was the craziest event you ever were part of? Or something that happened that was just insane? Because the pressure's a lot, right?
Yeah. One of my favorites at the Mandarin Oriental is, I'm trying to remember which African country, maybe Sierra Leone, but they were celebrating, it could be a different country, their 50th year of independence, which at that point was the longest stretch of any independence. And De Beers, the diamond company, had been a really big part of that, as you can imagine, the history of how a lot of those governments got set up. And so De Beers was hosting a diplomatic celebration, and our contact was in Africa, and she didn't particularly connect with the hotel staff, but I was supposed to present as part of the hotel. And I maybe had a $10,000 AV order with her, and the week of, we started communicating, and they had a live stream from a watering hole in Africa that was 3.5 days long. And our ballroom was divided into one section and the two larger. And we video mapped across all the partitions, so several stories high and probably 130 feet wide. Wow. The video of lions and elephants and hyenas, and then day to night. And I had the uplights in the room going from dusk to dawn to dark to sun. And when we were testing this out, it was pretty quiet on the video. So we had our audio really cranked up, and then a lion roared, and we shook the whole hotel.
Oh my God.
And then we had models in black silk dresses covered in diamonds with spotlights on them. And it very much felt like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And I think I had 9 contracts with her, and I kept having her sign. And I think it was a $400,000 order by the end, all within a week of pulling it together. But it was pretty fantastic. And we built little stages that the models would walk to rather than a typical catwalk. And that one was a fun one.
I guess. So what is it like now coming from that and coming here? Because I know what it felt like to come from LA, San Diego to Sedona. You're like, oh, wow, this is great. It's gorgeous. And I love it here. Don't get me wrong. It was just the first couple of weeks I was like, oh, this is really different. We can't just get everything we want, and also the work and all of that stuff's different. It's a shift, right?
Well, I am a Navy brat. My dad was a submarine captain, so I grew up moving around pretty regularly. And then I always say I kept up with it for myself. I think when I was 23, I had 9 W-2s from 5 different states.
Wow.
And at one point, I call it the dirtbag darling, but a river guide bouncing around with a duffel bag that when I moved into my tiny home bus and moved out west, I wasn't going anywhere new. I'd been to Colorado many times. California, I was well traveled. I had friends. So I did 7 years in Colorado and kind of migrated further west. So when I landed in Sedona, it was very familiar. I had a lot of people already tell me I could see you fitting there. Where Sedona it's a very unique small town. It's still less than 10,000, but you have a giant amount of visitors, but even just the formations, the rocks, it's internationally known, and there's industry here that doesn't exist in these tiny ski towns. But I'm also very familiar with conscientious development and that balance from living in all these different ski towns and working in recreation and working in tourism and working in hospitality. So this is a little bit of adding back my previous corporate life. Good. But not so corporate. So
this is good.
I enjoy the balance. I still get to get outside and have a very active lifestyle while still building a career.
Yes, I love it. It's great. So are you doing any rafting at all?
Not. I always tell people I didn't move here for the whitewater. I've gone on 5 private Grand Canyon trips before, and it will be something. It's a lifestyle once it's part of your life, and there are seasons to life. And right now I'm focusing my priorities and time on building some other things. Do I go to Snowball when it snows? Sure. I've gone kayaking on the Verde, but after being a guide on Class 5 whitewater, I didn't move here for the rivers and I didn't move here for the snow.
Right. I got that. Yeah. And then you've already done a lot of that, but it's in your blood. We know that, right? We know it's in your blood. You were in Colorado all those times, and then you were like a river guide.
Yeah, I've worked in Alaska, Colorado, and West Virginia.
What is the difference between a river rat and a river guide?
Well, I think the difference is more what you're thinking is a raft guide or a river guide. And a raft guide, it usually comes with some seasons, but anyone can learn one stretch of river and memorize one set of moves and know one raft. A river guide is when you really learn to read the water and you're able to navigate regardless of the river and regardless of the craft you're in. And that just takes time and learning.
Yeah, but there is such a thing as a river rat.
A river rat could be a lot. You don't necessarily have to be a river guide.
Okay,
I have
good to know.
Lots of friends that live on creeks and rivers and lakes and definitely fit the river rat. I think just to be a river rat, just to love the water and love the outdoors.
Okay. It's like being a fish. Got it. I grew up I didn't live on the beach, but I was always escaping to the beach living in San Diego. And, so body surfing, always being in the water was a big deal in Southern California.
Science has caught up on a lot of the things that many people have known for a long time, but like a lot of people feel a peace at water, especially crashing water. But it creates, I believe, a negative ion. The water's breaking apart, and that actually attaches, and it really does elevate your mood, whether you're surfing or, but a crashing wave, even the sound of water, it is scientifically proven. It does put you in a better mood.
Yeah, we're like, 80% water? human beings. So it makes sense to me.
Water is the most powerful force in the world as we know it. It moves mountains, literally.
Literally. So what is the most challenging part of your gig right now? What is it? Because I know there's a lot of coordinating, a lot of stuff going on. Is it the balance of just, I mean, you tell me, I have no idea. I know it's not an easy gig.
I have shared before this moment, but truthfully, so I'm 38 and I've done a lot of traditional jobs and non-traditional. I've always hated about when will you get a real job? If you have a time and a schedule and you get paid, it's a real job.
Absolutely.
And a classic line was sitting on a raft. Someone asked that. I was like, well, I like my view a lot better than your view, probably.
Good for you. And you are getting paid. Excuse me, artists, people who are tour guides, all of it. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. And yes, it's a gig. It's a job, a real job.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think if you're any kind of tour guide, telling a story, which I don't care what your business is or what you do, everyone is buying or selling. If you don't know how to tell your story and tell your brand and make it relatable, you're going to have a tough time no matter what industry you're in. So for this particular chapter of my employment, it's probably my favorite job I've had so far in the realm of quote unquote real, but in a career aspect. I don't know if I find anything especially challenging. It brings together a lot of little skills I've developed along the way. I've sat behind a computer before and answered emails, and also there are a lot of relationship balancing, but I've been a wedding coordinator and a venue supervisor and the face of an AV company in live events, as I'm sure you know, don't always go right. And it's not necessarily your fault who planned it, but you're the face that gets it. So I think those could be some of the more challenging elements of it. And then the details and the logistics. Plan a month-long river trip. You're probably going to be pretty good at logistics and the implications of forgetting toilet paper. I haven't done that, but I know people that have. So this job is a really neat opportunity for me to pull in a lot of aspects of things I enjoy and also things I believe I'm good at, and then also be able to produce something, not that weddings aren't important and making memorable moments, but something that has some evergreen and some longevity and that can elevate others as well.
So as a kid, you're growing up, and what service was your dad? Was it your father?
My father was a naval submarine captain.
Okay. Were you in San Diego?
No, I was born in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
So those are kind of the two cities you're based out of.
Okay.
He was in sea duty for the first few years of my life, and then he worked at Strategic Air Command in Nebraska, and then he did 2 deployments at NATO in Brussels, Belgium. So a big chunk of my childhood was in Brussels. Going to an international school for all the kids that worked at NATO. So I definitely had a very wider horizon at a young age.
Speaking different languages?
Mm-hmm. So Belgium is French and Flemish. It's bilingual, and then it's about the size of Maryland. So if you imagine, you can spend 3 days in Texas. You could cross 10 countries in a day. Maybe not quite a day, but a lot. So definitely a different perspective. I missed out on a lot of the 90s kind of pop culture. Sometimes friends will reference something and I'll just have a blank look and they'll be like, oh, Belgium.
So I have a question then. Let's see. You're in Belgium. You're growing up there. You're going to high school there?
No, I came back mid-middle school.
Okay.
But my sisters did, partially, and one graduated there.
Okay. What was it like coming back to the States? Mm-hmm. Was that one of those moments where you go like, whoa, this is really different? And how did that affect you?
Well, I certainly did. I guess there's a caveat to my transition back to the United States. So my mom became very ill with breast cancer while we were in Belgium. But moving to Belgium saved her life because she went to the social medicine and she'd been seeing military doctors and hadn't really had anything found or any action taken. So when she went into the Belgian medical system, she immediately got treatment, but it was very far progressed. So this is why we stayed for 2 deployments, is she was mid-treatments on her second round. So for the third, they medevaced her back. So my dad flew back and forth. We had someone live with my sister and I. Then my sister bounced around. So by the time I came back to the U.S., I'd been living independently of my family for about 6 months. And we were supposed to go to Key West, Florida. My dad was going to participate with the Coast Guard and get back on the sea, but it's 3 hours away from the closest hospital. So Bethesda is the Navy hospital in the D.C. area, and my grandparents had just moved to the edge of West Virginia. So it's about a 45-hour drive to the hospital. So my mom went there to go back and forth.
Wow.
So the way things fell is I moved to West Virginia, and I got put in a private school with very few kids.
Wow.
Very traditional, had some religion to it, and actually didn't have accreditation. So I have grown up in communities where everyone's a military kid, everyone's moving around, everyone speaks different, to a location that had never seen a new kid, never mind a new kid not from West Virginia, never mind a new kid from Belgium.
So this is intense for you.
And you're 12, and when girls are just wonderful. So I was called the
Yeah.
Russian spy for a year, and no one really talked to me.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry. This is tough.
I was not a fan of West Virginia. I didn't quite understand where I got landed back in, but I changed schools, and that definitely did help. And I love West Virginia. I claim it. If someone asks where I'm from, I'll claim West Virginia, but I'm not born and raised. I finished high school and college there.
Oh, wow. Amazing. So it was such a cultural difference. I can't even imagine what you went through. Besides the school situation, which is tough. You're 12 years old, and kids can be really mean. I know that firsthand. That's hard. But the cultural differences of coming back, that had to be, have you been back? Have you been back to that area of Europe?
I haven't been back to Belgium yet. I did go abroad at the end of college, and I went to Hong Kong instead in 2009 because I'd already done a lot of Europe. And I'm very happy I did that. I actually was able to stay. That was when swine flu was happening. And my liberal arts college in Hong Kong extended visas and free tuition to all the North, Central, and South American students, so we didn't have to go back to our epidemic-ridden countries. So, and that was also, again, right at 2009 and the recession, and I was like, sure, I can stay longer, no problem. So, I haven't gone back to Europe, but I have gotten to travel and experience Southeast Asia as a young adult.
Well, I have to say, you are not only qualified for this job, probably overqualified. You're a tough cookie. You've got the roots and I can just see you. I can actually see you as a river rafting, those white rapids, all of that stuff, taking people. And then all of your background has made you who you are, as you obviously know, and great hands. I'll tell you what. Sedona Chamber of Commerce has got the right person. That's for sure. Can handle anything, apparently. Anything. So,
well, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I want to thank you for being on my show. I can't believe we've run out of time.
Oh.
Goes by so fast, right? But I want to thank you for taking a time out of your busy day. This is a business day for you, and you popped on over, and I really appreciate you being here and enlightening us a little bit about who you are.
Well, thank you for giving me an opportunity. And I would just encourage for all our listeners, not only to learn who I am, but also to learn a little bit about the Chamber. It's been around since the 50s, but it's constantly evolving and new staff members, and to come to maybe one of these events I'm creating and give a listen if you haven't for a while.
It's wonderful. That's great. Make sure that you visit the website. Go ahead and tell them the official website. I don't want to get it wrong. It is for the Sedona Chamber of Commerce.
I believe it's just the SedonaChamber.com.
Oh, it is?
But I can verify that.
Let's verify that right this second. In the meantime, I'm just going to mention the Chamber of Commerce here is extremely strong. And Tom and I, when we moved here in 2002, we signed up right away. We signed up here actually before we even had a place to live. We were involved in San Diego in the Rancho Bernardo area with our Chamber of Commerce, and we were really involved in the Chamber here and still are. So again, the website is
SedonaChamber.com. And I also encourage you to follow our Instagram, Sedona Chamber. You can see spotlights of businesses, events going on, and really get a good pulse for the community. We encourage everyone to get out and get engaged. And just thank you for letting me share today.
Awesome. Thank you, Kara Barnes from the Sedona Chamber of Commerce. All right, everybody, stay with me. I'll be right back.
You've explored the trails, stood in awe of the red rocks. Now discover how Sedona became Sedona. The Sedona Heritage Museum tells the story of Red Rock country, from ancient cultures to today's vibrant community. It's interactive, family-friendly, and open year-round, indoors and out. Sedona Heritage Museum, preserving and sharing the soul of Red Rock country. Plan your visit at sedonamuseum.org or call 928-282-7038.
Take a deep breath and let it go. At Sedona's New Day Spa, your escape begins the moment you arrive. Enjoy luxurious massages, rejuvenating facials, and native-inspired body treatments. Every moment is designed to restore balance and renew your spirit. Voted Sedona's Best Day Spa, this is more than self-care. It's your sanctuary. Book your experience today at SedonaNewDaySpa.com or call 928-282-7502.
Need a clean car fast? Come to Cleaner Quicker Car Wash. We'll have you sparkling and back on the road in minutes. Whether you're after a quick shine or a deep clean, you'll get top quality service, eco-friendly soaps, and smiles all around. Drive up, shine up, and feel good, all without slowing down your day. And look like a star in your car. Located in West Sedona on Highway 89A. For more information, visit cleanerquickercarwash.com.
Here's more of Backstage Pass with Chandra, brought to you by Chef Lisa Dahl.
Well, happy July 4th, everybody. What a wonderful show. This is perfect for today. Oh, do you hear that? You know what that means. It's time for my shameless Chandra spot. You know, one of the things that I love most about my work is the chance to collaborate with truly visionary artists right here in our Sedona community. And I'm so proud to share a little bit about my recent project with the incredibly talented Tiffany Lord. Now, Tiffany also has her own gallery. It's called Tiffany Lord Designs. It's in Hillside, Sedona. Check it out when you're here in Sedona. For you who live here, go visit her. She's awesome. Now, the two of us, we've been working together on her very moving and powerful art exhibit, Liberty and Justice for All. This has been such a deeply powerful art exhibit. And I just have to tell you, it's been a creative journey for me in the best way. I had the honor of acting as the film editor, the sound designer, and the voiceover narrator for the project, and putting it together with the soundscapes and the edit to match the gravity and the beauty of Tiffany's vision was truly my labor of love. I loved it. I'm thrilled to tell you that you can experience this final piece right now on Tiffany Lord's YouTube channel. You can also see it over at her gallery, Tiffany Lord Designs, that I mentioned. You can head right on over there. It's at Hillside, Sedona, and see it in person. It is exactly the kind of artistic, community-focused work that keeps me inspired every day. And I want to make sure that you have the correct spelling of her name. It's Tiffany with an I-E. All right, not with a Y. She had her big art gallery opening for this project last night, and I was there. It was so much fun. All right, remember, Tiffany Lord at Hillside, Sedona. Liberty and justice for all. Thank you for tuning in again. And I've got to tell you, I got to thank my sponsors, because without them, I would not be doing this podcast. And here we are in the 62nd episode of Sedona's Backstage Pass. So thank you to the Sedona Heritage Museum, Sefton Engineering, Cleaner Quicker Car Wash, Sedona New Day Spa, Sedona.biz, and my presenting sponsor, the Dahl Restaurant Group, and Chef Lisa Dahl. Thank you guys so much. I sure appreciate you. And again, everybody, get your VIP pass out, and I will see you next week. And in the meantime, enjoy and take care.